Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Caveman Corner. It's Thursday, November 11th. Today, we're going to look at another recap of last week, talk about this week, this week's NFL news. I will not say it was a good week because last time I did that, I got, fell in a little bit of hot water there, so we won't talk about that. Somewhat of an interesting week of football. I'll toss it over to you, Riley. What were your thoughts?
We'll talk about the games, but I got to bring up the records right now because if I were going to make any comparison, it would be like those extremely long country races or like the 800-meter race where the guy's just keeping pace and then at the end he just pretty much just tramples on everyone else. The Coin right now, after a few bad weeks, he is neck and neck. Right now we have the scores set at 71-64-1 on the season for me, 72-63-1 for you, and 71-64-1 for the Coin. So we're all one game away, and I feel like the Coin is just playing with its food right now. It's gonna beat us at any point.
The Coin is Usain Bolt. He might not start the fastest, but once he gets going, once he gets those big long legs moving, it's tough to keep up with that guy. So shout out to the Coin. I mean, it's a 50-50, except if you're the Coin. Otherwise, it's 100%.
Well, yeah, it's pretty impressive what it's doing now. So last week the Coin. I
don't want
to gender the Coin. You're right. So he/she.
It is a Queen of England, I believe, is the heads in Canada.
Yeah, just make sure you don't get the Coin's pronouns wrong.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the Coin last week was 9-5. Mitch was 7-7, and I was 6-8. So Mitchell taking that one game lead. But we do have to mention for the Sell My Soul bets of the week, my record came to an end. I don't know why I put that, but I was 2-1 on Sell My Soul bets last week, and Mitchell a whopping 0-2.
My soul is long since gone. Apparently, I'm good at the weekly bets, but the Sell My Souls I would not ride with me right now. It's a little bit of a cold spell.
Well, you went with the Jets plus 10.5, which is pretty funny considering Mike White just out in the first drive.
Yeah, I mean, I think we both considered that bet dead out of the water, like right off the bat as soon as White went out. But they actually drove down to what was it, the 5-yard line they got with 2 minutes to go. Could have actually scored to get the backdoor cover, and I guess it wasn't in the cards.
Well, you got to give shouts out to those journeyman QBs, right?
Josh Johnson, worked out at the Marshawn Lynch camp in Ottawa. Good guy.
Absolutely respected. So another thing to note, I got to open up with it because me, I'm the biggest anti-ref. Refs are scumbags. They're rigging the game.
We're getting right into it.
So yeah, the horrible Monday Night Football call. Like I just, the thing that bothers me most at this point is the ref is like doubling down on it, and which is just ridiculous. I actually saw a chart too. It was like the calls in favor of certain teams versus against favor. The team that's been getting screwed over most by penalties has been the Browns. The team that is most favored by penalties. Can you guess who it is?
Most favored by penalties. Is this just like the least penalized team, or how do you quantify this?
So it'll be like the difference between penalties called against them or penalties called like for them.
So essentially the most disciplined team. Is that who I'm guessing right now?
You could say discipline, but I definitely feel like certain scenarios that ref would favor certain teams. I mean,
I couldn't guess off the top of my head. I feel like you're going hard on it because maybe it's the Falcons. I don't know.
No, it's not the Falcons.
I wouldn't assume it was,
but. Mike Tomlin comes out and talks about he actually supports the non-taunting call because he thinks they should get rid of that stuff. I mean, I get it too. Like if they're fucking grabbing their balls, pulling out their dick mid-game to taunt, I get it. But what Cassius Marsh did at the end there,
what are you getting at here? Is it the Steelers?
It's the Steelers. Okay. Mike Tomlin, a huge hypocrite. You're getting calls in your favor. That's why you want it. You want it to be abolished. If it was the other way around, he'd be fucking complaining about it.
Mike Tomlin. I still remember it was, 7 years ago when the guy was he was returning a kick for a touchdown or something like that.
Oh yeah.
And he did like a half step on the field. And
he did like the fake hip check. Pretty much what the ref did to Cassius Marsh. He did that. The old hip check.
The ref has either been watching Mike Tomlin film or a lot of Manu Ginobili, James Harden film.
I
don't think he realized
that Euro step.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think he realized the rules in the NBA changed this year. You can't get away with it. Except you can in the NFL because he kind of did. I think the NFL very rarely will not back its refs.
So yeah, last week we talked about we weren't looking forward to a few games, and I was a victim to it too. I thought certain games were just washes, like a certain team's going to win. But last week, the Titans upset the Rams without Derrick Henry, the Broncos upset the Cowboys, and the Jaguars upset the Bills. Is this one of those weeks where we look back in week 17 or playoffs and just say, yeah, that meant fucking nothing? Like it just feels like one of those weeks.
Yeah, I think that the truth of the matter is it's the NFL, right? Like as talented as your teams could be, wacky things happen in the NFL, and that's part of what makes the league so exciting. Is really the any given Sunday. I mean, does this mean I'm down on the Bills or down on the Cowboys or down on the Rams? No, I still think those are three of the top 5 teams. Maybe not top 5, but top 7, 8-ish teams in the NFL.
So pretty
Crazy
much
things happen. I don't think that means the teams that beat them are necessarily better. Of those teams that you just listed, the only ones that I'm really taking a step back and saying, shit, like I've been down on these guys is the Titans, right?
Absolutely. I'm in the same boat. But when we get to the game, I'll kind of talk about my hesitancy when it comes to the Titans. But I agree, I did not give them enough love coming into the season, and even after them upsetting some great teams, I still wasn't giving them enough credit. At this point, I will give them credit, but I'll touch about that later. And I do have to mention, I know you're the biggest Josh Allen supporter, but it's fair to say that Josh Allen at this point is a poor man's Trevor Lawrence.
I think my conclusion is there can only be one good Josh Allen on a field at a time. He absorbs the ability of the rest of the Josh Allens. And on this Sunday, it happened to be the Jaguars' Josh Allen. But maybe next time they meet, have they played yet in Buffalo? If they have, I'll feel like a jackass. But maybe if the next time they meet in Buffalo, the Bills' Josh Allen gets all the he'll take the Josh Allen ability and absorb the Jaguars' Josh Allen. I'm just keep saying Josh Allen until it makes sense.
Well, I mean, the announcers were saying it in the weekend too, and honestly, I love it. I love that kind of story.
The scoregami or the namegami.
Josh Allen had a great game, and not the poor man's Trevor Lawrence, who I'm talking about. So your Falcons also won a pretty key game for them. They're actually 7th in the NFC playoff seeding right now.
Hard to believe.
I mean, you were talking shit in the third quarter and then almost lost your mind going into the fourth because of that.
The life of a Falcons fan.
But at this point, you got to admit, one of the people you messaged was my uncle bragging about the win. He said there's certain wins
He's a Saints fan for the record.
Certain games you should not brag about. I think this is one. I can't believe you're talking shit about a win against the Trevor Siemian-led team.
At the end of the day, the Saints had decided to roll with Trevor Siemian. They have Taysom Hill, who you're paying, was it nearly $20 million a year, who they could have slotted in there, but they didn't, right? They went with Siemian because the week before, he was lights out against the Bucs. I think it showed, with maybe a game of actual game film on him, a team could scheme to slow him down, and that's what the Falcons did. Of course, we still made it tighter than it needed to be because we wouldn't be the Falcons if we didn't do that. But I just think it showed, how well Matt Ryan has played this year to really bring us back to the end. Daryl Patterson has been maybe the surprise of the year in terms of a player. Like, this guy's been a journeyman his whole life. And he comes and he's just having a career year, probably a Pro Bowler. I mean, did we beat, the Buffalo Bills or the Tampa Bay Bucks? No. But the Saints were still the team that went and beat the Bucks last week with this same Siemian under center, and they could have put their $20 million man under center, Taysom Hill. They chose not to, right? They chose to go with Siemian because he thought he would be the guy to lead the way, and I think they're going to go with Siemian moving forward as well.
I think, considering the game they have this week, I would imagine they go with Taysom Hill, but you might be right because Taysom Hill's not one of those guys who's going to throw you back into games. He's going to be one that's going to rely on the defense, which, I mean, the Saints do have a great defense and pretty much run at the clock. But we'll see. I also wanted to touch on the Cardinals. Without Kyler Murray, they get Colt McCoy in at quarterback and still pull off a pretty deciding win against the 49ers. Is that a testament to the Cardinals just being that good, or kind of just an off game for the 49ers and them not being that
good? How could we call it an off game for 49ers if they haven't really had an on game?
They're just greasing.
They're missing that on switch. I saw a stat the other day where over the past 3 years, Matt Nagy actually has a better record than Kyle Shanahan. And I get, Kyle Shanahan's this offensive guru, but at some point your offense needs to get it going. I don't know what's going on with them, whether it's Jimmy G, Trey Lance not being ready. Elijah Mitchell's looked all right. Deebo Samuel looks like a star, but other than that, I get that they just got George Kittle back from injury. He had a pretty costly fumble. Ayuk hasn't been himself. I'll turn it around.
Ayuk kind of turning around, though.
Yeah, he finally had a good week, but he also had a costly fumble. I'll turn it around and I'll say I think this is another case where, much like the Titans lost Henry. I was down on them. The Cardinals were missing, their star quarterback and Hopkins, and I said no chance they win this. Shows what I know because they went and kind of beat the hell out of the Niners, even with Colt McCoy. They did throw in, a trick play or two. They weren't saying, we're a straight up better team. We're just going to run it down your throat every play, even though they kind of did. But they did the best to just let Colt McCoy manage the job, and that's all he had to do. because that defense is stacked, because James Conner's killing it right now. Arizona's got to be a top 3 team in the NFC right now, right? I mean, how could they not be?
Yep, fair enough. That kind of actually goes into my caveman of the week. Got to give it to my man James Conner. We're talking about people not getting enough love, teams not getting enough love. I was not giving enough love to James Conner. This guy got no respect, and he's out here proving that he was the better back. I think he's better than Chase Edmonds. I think even when Chase Edmonds comes back, he's going to be the main back going forward. Phenomenal game, 3 touchdowns. If you had him in fantasy, 40 points. James Conner, you are my caveman of the week. Respect to you, my friend.
Do you want to move on to your Chooch of the week, and I'll just do both mine too?
Sure. I actually like your caveman of the week. Why don't you just hit it right now? Because I love me some hoggies.
Yeah, the caveman of the week. Originally, I always intended it for offensive, defensive linemen. So really happy to move back to our roots here. So I'm giving this one to Joel Bitonio, and I'm giving this to Wyatt Teller. Why, you ask? Well, pretty easy. So the talk of the week in Cleveland, of course, has been Odell Beckham Jr. A little bit of a rift between him and the team, him and Baker Mayfield. They obviously go and waive Odell Beckham. People thought that would be a distraction going to this game, but they went and kicked the shit out of Cincinnati, and Cincinnati was at the top of the AFC North moving into this game.
Well, they showed the infograph while the game was going on. It was like record without Odell. I think it was like fucking 8-5 or something. Record with Odell, and they got a losing record.
They went back to their identity, which is we're tougher than you, we're stronger than you, and we're gonna fucking run the shit out of the ball down their throats. Bitonio and Wyatt Teller were both rewarded with 4-year deals. They're 2 of the best offensive guards in the NFL. I think Bitonio got $48 million, and Wyatt Teller got something like $60 million, which is like a new record for an offensive guard.
Love it.
So shout out to both of these hoggies here. They're part of the reason why Cleveland is who they are, which is, an above-average team that could be great. I still think Baker could be a little bit better. He looked great last week, I'll tell you that. If he can continue that for the remainder of the season, then we see that maybe Odell was the problem there and a bit of a distraction. So shout out to those 2 hoggies for leading the way, paving the path for Nick Chubb and Dearness Johnson, who's going to be starting this week. They deserve my caveman of the week.
Just some gaping holes that the Browns O-line created. More gaping than this bum to the side of me. We'll go with my Chooch of the week. I went on my little rant earlier. Tony Correnti, the guy who was the main officiator of the Monday Night Football game.
That was an ugly one.
Oh, God, that sickens me, man. My soul just gets hurt.
I think as soon as Cassius Marsh hit that sick karate kick or whatever that was, you couldn't hit a flag just based off how impressive that was.
I mean, it's complete bullshit, man. It takes, the passion out of the game, and it kind of... For them playing, I'm sure, and for me watching. Come on, Tony Correnti, you're making the game about you. Let the boys play, especially when it's a key moment in the game. You can't be making judgment calls like that.
I appreciate how passionate you are about this. You want to make love to football.
Bothers me, man. Allow head-to-head hits.
Take football out for a nice dinner.
Allow head-to-head hits. Allow taunting. That's my goal as the new commissioner of the NFL. So you want to hit your Chooch of the week?
Yeah, so my Chooch of the week is none other than Trey Sermon. Why am I picking Trey Sermon? That seems like it's kind of out of nowhere. Well, the 49ers went and traded up in the 3rd round to get Trey Sermon at the start of this year. Everybody thought, he would be the guy going into the year. Unexpectedly, a healthy scratch going into week 1. He did end up getting some dresses with all the injuries they've had it back. But once again, Jeff Wilson, announced healthy, so they went and made Trey Sermon a healthy scratch once again. So Trey Sermon has officially taken the San Francisco 49ers out of his Twitter handle, out of his bio, and his IG his IG bio and handle as well. So obviously unhappy with his playing time there. I'm going to call him the Chooch because it's hard to be a malcontent as a 3rd-round pick. You got to go and earn your job, and it looks like Elijah Mitchell won that job over him, and he's not too happy. So we'll see what happens there, but we could be looking at potentially the last few days or weeks of Trey Sermon with San Francisco.
Hey, shout outs to Elijah Mitchell, though. If you're in fantasy, target that guy. That guy's a beast. I actually think Trey Sermon should have just talked to his dad. I'm assuming his dad's Trey Sermon Sr. Just pull an Odell Beckham Sr. Post a video on your Instagram just slandering the team you're on. That seems like the plausible move.
Is he going to post him running through open holes in practice? There's not much game film to post there.
Then you'll see Jimmy Garoppolo's dad post him just running into the offensive lineman's ass as he's trying to find the hole.
I think Trey Sermon, much like his religious name, needs to say a prayer to hold on to his job with San Francisco. We'll see what happens there, but not looking good with him.
So yeah, there. That concludes our caveman and chooch of the week. I think we'll just go ahead straight into the games. So Thursday nighter, fuck. I've been one to just say that
looks shit on paper.
It looks shit on paper, but the games always seem to surprise. This one, I'm not confident with at all. I think it's probably just going to be a shit show. It's the Baltimore Ravens at the Miami Dolphins, with the Ravens favored by -7.5. I think the Ravens are going to fucking trample them. I mean, the Miami Dolphins won last game. You'd think they'd be riding high, but it was against the Houston Texans, arguably the worst team in the NFL.
Was not a pretty win either.
Yeah, just Baltimore's way better, and I think the Dolphins are really, really shit.
Yeah.
I don't have much to say about this. I think Lamar Jackson's going to have his way running the football, even passing. The Dolphins are going to get fucking trampled.
Yeah, I saw a stat where, of course, we've moved up to 17-game seasons, so it's like none of these stats actually should mean. Well, they're not as significant as they once were. But Lamar on pace for 5,700 total yards this year. That would break the record of Drew Brees, who I think was at like 5,600.
Stupid. I feel like a lot of records are going to be broken this year, and it's kind of just like an asterisk.
Yeah, of course. I mean, you put it into context, and you got to look at things like, I think it's going to make more important things like yards per game, which is probably more of a true indicator, but still pretty impressive by Lamar. Did these teams play last year? Do you remember?
Baltimore or Miami? I do not remember.
I remember specifically them playing 2 years ago in week 1 or 2. And Baltimore won something like 57-7. It was a pretty massive beatdown.
I do remember.
And
that was Marquise Brown's rookie season.
Yeah.
I think Lamar going into his sophomore year too.
Yeah, something like that. It was a pretty ugly game, and that's what I think of whenever I see these two teams playing now. So not a good indicator for Miami. They will be starting Jacoby Brissett again on this short week. I just don't really have any faith in this team. They made it ugly against the Texans and found a way to win, but this is not the Texans. This is the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah.
And they're going to come guns a-blazing, primetime game. I'll take Baltimore -7.5.
Yeah, I was shocked to see the spread so low. Only -7.5 for the Ravens. I would assume it'd be in double digits. It just seems like a smash spot to me. And now that primetime games have been tough, so I might add that to my sell my soul bets of the week when we get to it. But next up, we have the Buffalo Bills at the New York Jets, with the Bills favored by -13 and the over-under set at 47.5. Another one, I just think it's going to be an absolute beatdown. If this were any other situation, like if the Bills maybe trampled the Jaguars and were going into this with with all the momentum and kind of took the Jets lightly, I think it would be a different scenario. But after they lost the Jaguars, I'm assuming they're thinking we cannot take any team lightly again, and they're just going to bring everything they have against the New York Jets, who really aren't good. And I think it's going to be another trampling of a game. I'm going Bills -13.
Yeah, I mean, the spread seems about fair. I guess what has me questioning this game is, like I'm trying to play devil's advocate in the way, because I did take Buffalo like you, but it is a division rivalry, and it's like, Buffalo, New York, maybe it's one of those like randomly really cold games, and in those games you obviously have to run the ball. Buffalo's been struggling to run the ball, right? Zach Moss might not play. Singletary hasn't been great. Cole Beasley actually lined up a bit in the backfield last game. That's kind of how desperate they are at the spot. It looks like Mike White will be, taking the helm for the Jets. Hopefully, his poor wrist doesn't get injured again. We all want to see Mike the Legend White throw for another 400. Probably not going to happen in this game. Buffalo's got the top pass defense in the NFL. For that reason, I will take Buffalo to cover this spread. They're a much better team. They look bad against the Jaguars. I will say, this is something you're noticing with Buffalo and with KC right now. They kind of both have those deep pass, high-powered pass offenses. What teams are doing right now is they're running that cover 2 shell and saying, we're not going to let you get behind us. We're going to let you dink and dunk and make you make a mistake. And it seems like it's been working. You got to figure at some point Buffalo and KC figure it out and actually take advantage of that. I just don't think the Jets are the team to execute on this.
All right, fair analysis. I actually forgot to do the coins pick for the
What's new? I feel like this happens every week.
It happens every single week.
The coin not happy will take a vengeance.
So first game, coin's going with us with Baltimore, and second game, the coin is going with the New York Jets. I mean, we forgot to mention.
How do you determine why is heads the Jets and
heads starts with H? Home starts with H.
Oh, okay. I get it now, fellas.
I mean, it's not really complex. But yeah, I mean, Mike White against Tre'Davious White. Who's the better White? I'm going to go with Christian McCaffrey.
I was going to say, I'm going to go with Christian McCaffrey. I don't think it's quite the same as, the Josh Allen's going at it.
Next up, we have the Cleveland Browns at my New England Patriots. The Patriots favored by -1.5 and the over-under set at 45.5. Another surprising one. I love it. I love Vegas respecting the Patriots. I know Vegas knows all, so...
Big time respect.
This is big time respect. I love it. I love it. I love it. And I'm going with the Patriots in this one. While I was not as confident as the Chargers game, because obviously we were underdogs in that one, I'm pretty confident. We talked about the Browns and their rushing attack. That does scare me, but they're not going to have Nick Chubb this one, and it's going to be Dearness Johnson. I do also think Dearness Johnson is very slept on. I think he's going to have a solid game, but without Nick Chubb, you got to give the edge to the Patriots in this. Again, not overly confident. I'm not going to put this on my sell my soul bet like I did with the Chargers, but I love it.
Yeah, the reason I went Cleveland here, and surprise, surprise, I picked against New England. You're right. I think it'd be a much easier bet, and the line might be a little bit different if Nick Chubb was playing. He's so, integral to that offense. But I saw Dearness Johnson do a good job when he kind of had the spot start last time. Really stacked O-line. I think they can kind of play New England similar to what Carolina did, except actually take advantage on offense. Like, Carolina did a pretty good job on defense. They forced Mac Jones to make some mistakes. They just couldn't take advantage on offense because they didn't have the talent there. I think Cleveland does have that talent. If Baker Mayfield is able to, minimize mistakes, they can run the football. The other reason being New England does have some injuries at running back too. We have both Ramondre Stevenson.
It doesn't bother me at all. Put in Brandon Bolden, put in J.J. Taylor. They're still going to.
I think it matters a bit. I think Damian Harris and Ramondre Stevenson both, having concussion issues.
They're the hammer.
I would be surprised.
I just smashed the mic. I don't know if that just destroyed someone's ears.
If you heard a loud noise, that wasn't, Damian Harris
getting concussed. Dead body dropping to the floor.
Not Damian Harris getting concussed on Sunday. That was Riley smacking the mic. But yeah, I don't know if those guys are going to play. I think Cleveland is able to rush the passer better than pretty much about anyone, maybe other than the Titans. They're going to, disrupt the backfield, make Mac Jones make some mistakes. So I'll take Cleveland in this one.
I wanted to mention, on defense, the Patriots still stacked. If anyone's going to confuse Baker Mayfield with his scheming ability, it's going to be Bill Belichick. He's going to make Baker make mistakes. If that rushing attack isn't churning like it does with Chubb and Hunt, then this team's screwed. They're pretty much heavily run on.
I agree with you there. If they're not able to run the ball, they're in trouble. But
I mean, they pretty much can run against anyone.
Easier said than done.
Yeah, exactly. They might be the best rushing team in the NFL at this point.
Them and the Ravens, probably. AFC North just loves to run the football.
So, yeah, we'll flip the coin. We got heads for New England. I love you, Coin.
Coin's only picking home this week?
I love you, Coin. No, we got the first one was Baltimore. Next up, we have the New Orleans Saints at the Tennessee Titans, with the Titans favored by -3 and the over-under set at 44.5. This scares me because we actually had a talk right before the podcast started. I made this pick without knowing this, but Alvin Kamara likely not to be playing. I don't know likely. I'd probably say, 50-50 right now?
These lists is day-to-day, probably will be 50-50 going in, but I would lean towards him not being in this game because they just signed a running back to the team.
Yeah, so, I mean, you're the narrative guy, so, the Titans just upset the Rams. You think they're riding high, right?
Well,
it's not a trap game?
This kind of looks like a trap game, but it's not. Typically, when you're looking at a trap game, you're playing a shit team. New Orleans isn't a shit team. They're a very strong defense with an offense that's hit or miss. I will say Tennessee's big wins all seem to have come as underdogs this year, and when they were a favorite, they went and got upset. They went and got upset by the New York Jets, right? So how do you win against the Chiefs and the Bills and the Rams, and then go and lose to the Jets? That tells you this team could be hit or miss. I actually went and picked the Titans, so I don't know why I'm making this argument. I'm making your argument for you. I just feel like I've been picking against the fucking Titans all year, and they made me look like a jackass, so now I got to finally ride with them. It's kind of what I did with the Cardinals a few weeks ago.
I think this has all the makings of a trap game. I mean, if Kamara's out, I'm not betting this confidently. But if he's in, I'm pretty confident with this one. Saints defense, very solid.
Tennessee's going to have to pass the ball, man. Saints got one of the top run Ds in the league.
That's exactly what I'm thinking. You look at last week, sure, Adrian Peterson got a touchdown, but they don't wear defenses out the same way that Derrick Henry did. That's a massive thing that they need, and you're not going to get that same treatment from Dante Foreman or Adrian Peterson. It's just not the same, and they're not going to be that wear and tear team. it's going to be just like you said. They're going to have to rely on Ryan Tannehill, and we just haven't
Schling
seen the
it.
Titans do that. Sure, he has moments, but that's mainly because of the opportunities that are created because of how good.
Yeah, I mean,
the
lost
play action stuff like that.
Lost in how good the Titans have been this year is kind of the Ryan Tannehill regression. He was really, really good the past 2 years. This year, he's got 11 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. So he's I mean, he's going to need to be better. He's shown that he can be good. He's going to have to turn it up back to his 2019, 2020 form.
Yeah, we'll see. Flipping the coin. The coin is going heads for home. They are going Tennessee Titans as well. After this, we have your Atlanta Falcons at the Dallas Cowboys. The Cowboys favored by -10 and the over-under set at 55. I'll let you kick this off.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of already spoke on the Falcons. Needed to win last week to get back to 500. They've been hit or miss this year too. I did have a good feeling about them against the Saints. I would say this is a worrying game, right? You're riding high after that division rivalry win. You're playing away once again in Dallas. Dallas is not happy. They went and lost last week to the Broncos. I wouldn't even say just lost, right? They got embarrassed. They were huge favorites. I think it was 10-point favorites. And up to that point, they were actually undefeated against the spread, right? So this looks like I feel like this is one of those things where does Vegas know better than us? I thought the spread would be, -6, -7.
Oh, they know better. If they're not respecting the Falcons, they know all the fucking shit.
I mean, they didn't respect them last week, and the Falcons went and won, so that's not all that surprising.
against the Trevor Siemian-led Saints.
At the end of the day, they've been winning games despite their quarterback play. I will say this game obviously worries me as a Falcons fan. It's definitely a huge long shot to win the game, but I think we can keep it within 10. High over-under this game. I'll tell you why. Last year, these two teams combined for, I think it was 77 points. Falcons, stop me if you heard this before, were leading up till the fourth quarter. They had the onside kick debacle where they should have won the game, and nobody went and got the onside kick. So it's like, the Falcons can play these Cowboys tough, but can they do what they did last year? I guess we'll see. I think they'll keep it tighter than this 10-point spread. And just shout out to Matt Ryan. He's number 1 in quarterback rating over the past 5 weeks. He has been lights out this year.
Fuck Matt Ryan. But you hit it there. But I will say that both these teams have, I'd say, a lot better defenses than they did last year. Both improved. I mean, Falcons defense still, but
it's still average, but it's not bottom 3, which is what it was.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Dallas. Not only for that, I'm also going the under for the 55-point total. Just like you said, they lost to the Broncos, got embarrassed. They're going to come out with a vengeance. And this Falcons team, I said it many times before, just not very good. It's funny because the AFC, the Patriots are 7th seed. In the NFC, the Falcons are 7th seed. The only difference is the Patriots being favored against the Browns team, who a lot think is a top 10 team in the NFL, and the Falcons are negative 10-point dogs. Vegas has no love for the Falcons because they know exactly what all of the fans know. They're just not a very good team. I think Dallas is going to trample the Falcons and bring them back to earth.
I would be pretty shocked. And I mean, if the Cowboys played the Browns, the Cowboys would be favored in that game. The Cowboys are a better team than the Browns.
How much do you think the Cowboys would be favored by?
Maybe like 4 or 5.
Okay, let's play a little game, Mitchell. Maybe we'll actually make a bet on it. What do you think the odds are? Next Thursday is the Falcons versus the Patriots.
Oh, is it a Thursday game too? That's an awesome Thursday game.
It's a Thursday game.
Falcons is it in Atlanta Patriots. Or in New England?
Fuck, I forget. Well,
that'll play a factor.
We'll maybe
we'll reconvene.
We'll reconvene for sure. So yeah, we'll flip the coin for this. We got heads for Dallas from the coin. Following up is the Jacksonville Jaguars at the Indianapolis Colts. The Colts favored by -10.5 and the over-under set at 47.5. So this is an under spot for me, and I'm also going with Indianapolis. So I just think it's going to be another shellacking. Usually I'm one to go with these big double-digit spreads with the underdog, but I think Jacksonville just played their Super Bowl against the Bills. Like, this is their Super Bowl. That's the biggest win they're going to have all season. You're not going to see Jacksonville beat or come close to winning against a team to the caliber of the Bills. And just like the Cowboys are going to do with the Falcons, the Colts are going to bring the Jacksonville Jaguars back to life.
What?
Back down to earth. Back down to earth. God.
Back to life. You're back, Jacksonville. Are you done on this one? Or?
No, I just think the Colts, their rushing attack is going to dominate. Jonathan Taylor is going to live up the hype that he's been living up to all season, and it's going to be a shellacking. There you go.
Yeah, I took Jacksonville here. I think, it's obvious the Colts are the better team. There's a lot of big spreads this week. I will say Jacksonville, to give them some respect, they've won 2 out of their last 3 games. One of those being against the Bills, the other being against the not-so-impressive Dolphins. But at the end of the day, that's still 2 out of your 3 games. They're rested. Their bye was 2 weeks ago. They're ready to roll. They're showing that they can play with those top dogs. I don't think Indy's as good as Buffalo. I agree with you that this is... you're like I love that argument, and I'm the narrative guy, right? You're riding high after your last game. You come here and get the shit kicked out of you. I will say, Indy almost got caught in this exact same spread against the Jets. I think the Jacksonville Jaguars can pose some problems, especially if James Robinson's on the field. They showed that they could slow down both the run and the pass against Buffalo. I think Jacksonville gets beat, but they're good enough to keep this within 10.5, or at least I hope.
I don't know why you're bringing up the Jets spread. The Colts beat them by like 15.
Yeah, but they almost got caught in that backdoor cover is what I'm getting at here.
Fair enough. We'll flip the coin and see what the coin thinks. The coin is going heads for the home team, which is the Indianapolis Colts. Next up, we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Washington football team, with the Bucs favored by -10 and the over-under set at 51.5. So this is both teams coming off the bye. I believe we talked about this. Ryan Fitzpatrick most likely not going to be back, so it's going to be another week of Taylor Heineke.
Yeah, just to touch on that, it looks like they're doing his rehab's going well. However, Ryan Tannehill was on crutches as recently as a few weeks ago. Probably. Did I say? What did I say?
Tannehill.
I meant Fitzpatrick. Looking like Fitzpatrick is still 2 to 3 weeks away. So I'll pass it back to you.
Yeah, so I'm going to go with the Bucs. I can't imagine Tom Brady coming off a bye and especially coming off a loss to the Saints before the bye, he's coming with a vengeance. I actually saw the MVP odds now has Tom Brady neck and neck, both plus 350 with Josh Allen for MVP favorites. So narrative guy, Tom Brady's got something to play for. If this guy wins another MVP at the age he's at, it's adding to his already immaculate legendary resume. Tom Brady's legit. This Washington football team is not. The Bucs are still a top 5 team in the NFL, and another shellacking.
Breaking news, everybody! Tom Brady's legit from Raleigh. Yeah, I'll say you kind of touched on it, but he's in the MVP race, and I made this point
leading.
Earlier. Is he leading for the MVP?
I said neck and neck. So both Josh Allen and Tom Brady are plus 350 favorites.
They're really the 2 favorites right now?
The 2 favorites
over Stafford and Lamar and all those guys?
100%.
Okay.
100%.
I don't think either of those two will win it. Maybe I'm wrong. I will say, like I was saying before I was rudely interrupted, Tom Brady is a guy who's known to play for stats. I mean, if they're in the lead, he's not going to just run the football.
Well, now without Bill Belichick, he has free reign to just be a stat chaser.
Yeah, he loves that shit. So if they get up on Washington, which they very well have the ability to do, they'll just keep kind of pounding them. Antonio Brown will miss this game, looking like he'll be out another few weeks. Still some swelling in the ankle, but guess what? They still got Mike Evans. They still have Chris Godwin. Leonard Fournette's looking good. I just think Tampa Bay is a much better team, and Washington has really let us down this year. So I will go with Tampa here.
Question for you. You think if Fitzpatrick came back, like that gives him a much better chance of winning, or he's about in the same range?
If he was fully healthy, I think they would have a better... The thing is, with Fitzpatrick, he truly is magic. Like, it's like he's either going to be complete shit or he's going to light you up.
Or fool's gold. All right, the coin is going with tails, which is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers as well. Man, something about the coins pick this week, I just feel like it's going to hit everything. This kind of scares me. Next up is the Detroit Lions at the Pittsburgh Steelers, with the Steelers favored by -9.5 and the over-under set at 42.5, which comes to be the lowest over-under of the entire slate.
It's going to be an ugly one.
Going to be an ugly one for sure. You're going to see a heavy dose of Najee Harris and a heavy dose of DeAndre Swift. Detroit is coming off their bye, and honestly, Detroit is due for a win. I don't think it's going to be against Pittsburgh, but I also think, I don't know, they're going to keep it close. I'm going with Detroit in this one. I think they cover that 9.5 point spread, and I think it's going to be one of those tight games where both teams are heavily reliant on the run. I believe Chase Claypool will not be playing, so it's going to be the Deontay Johnson show, and most importantly, the Najee Harris show. So I'm going with the Detroit Lions, greasing it and keeping it within around a touchdown.
Yeah, I mean, last time we said that Detroit was bound to win a game. It was against another team.
Man, they're gonna fucking.
It was against another team from Pennsylvania, the Philadelphia Eagles, who go and beat them by 40.
Yeah,
I will say,
bad.
classic, hilarious coach move. Dan Campbell had his defensive coordinator, Aaron Glenn, bury the tape from the last game. So
you actually did that?
Physically buried a hole in the ground and put the tape. I don't know if it was, a slideshow of the tape or just like how in Zoolander they just grab the monitor and they start smashing it. Maybe they just threw the physical monitor in the ground and buried that. I don't know exactly what they did, but they did bury the tape, so maybe they get over it. I took Detroit as well. Pittsburgh has shown they could struggle against some of those bad teams with Chicago. Didn't cover the spread on that one, even though they won the game with some help from the refs, mind you. I'll take Detroit. I don't know if they're going to win this to cover. We just say it was 9.5.
9.5. Yep.
It just seems like too much for two teams that can't really score the football, so I'll take Detroit.
Fair enough. The coin will go with the home team, which is the Pittsburgh Steelers. God damn you, coin. I'm so fucking scared. Next up is the Minnesota Vikings at the Los Angeles Chargers. The Chargers favored by -2.5, and the over/under set at 53. This is one of those games I was flip-flopping in between. I wasn't so sure. But ultimately, I decided because this Chargers run defense is the weak point of their team, and the Minnesota Vikings rushing attack, I'd say, is the strength of the team. I think it's going to be the Dalvin Cook show, and he's going to run all over this shitty Los Angeles Chargers run defense, and I'm going with Minnesota.
I don't know how we're going to talk about Dalvin Cook running all over people with all the allegations. I won't get into it.
Innocent till proven guilty. Come on.
He's got all the he said, she said. Honestly, I will say the one thing I found hilarious about it was Adam Schefter just working as clearly an agent mouthpiece and dropping all these conflicting reports. I don't know if you saw it. It was pretty. Maybe I shouldn't be laughing at it because it's a domestic abuse situation.
You're telling me Adam Schefter is paid off to give the news.
What do you mean? I mean, definitely wasn't paid off to give the news. He's literally just dropping whatever the agent says so he can get breaking news in the future. It was one of the most obvious things I've ever seen in my life.
Hilarious.
Surprised. That's how breaking news people work. They have to drop stories from their people to get breaking news. I actually took Minnesota in this one as well. Minnesota has got to be the weirdest team. They're one game out of the 7th seed, right behind my Falcons, and it feels like every single game, even against the best teams, they're in it, and they probably should win it, and they just find a way to fucking lose. I don't know what the hell's going on here. I took them to cover this 2.5-point spread because the Chargers, like you said, have shown they can be run on. Whether it's Dalvin Cook, whether it's Alexander Madison, I think Minnesota will just run the shit out of the football.
Well, it's going to be Dalvin Cook.
And Minnesota can still, I don't think their defense has been great, but they can still rush the passer. They're averaging, I think, top 5 in sacks.
I saw a route last week where, holy shit, Patrick Peterson just got absolutely cooked, man.
Father Time gets us all.
I just interrupted you. Go ahead.
No, I lost my point. I had already kind of made my point. So I'm taking Minnesota.
The coin is going with tails, and that is Minnesota as well. Next up, we have the Carolina Panthers at the Arizona Cardinals. So the Cardinals favored by -10, and the over/under set at a surprising 44.5. This is another confusing game. Is PJ Walker going to be the starter?
Yes, he is.
Is it confirmed?
I guess this is breaking news. Breaking news. Yeah, Sam Darnold's going to be out 4 to 6 weeks, so it's going to be PJ Walker.
Damn, PJ Walker. So I don't think he gives them the better chance, but is Kyler Murray going to be back?
I would bet he is, but I don't think that's set in stone.
Okay, well, I would say probably about 70% Kyler's in. Would you say that's fair?
75, yeah.
All right. Breaking news.
Okay, yeah.
I was going to say, even without Kyler, they won against the 49ers, and they won pretty confidently, dominantly against this Carolina Panthers team led by PJ Walker. I love Arizona in this spot. I believe they trample them, and I don't think that the Panthers get much going. I know Christian McCaffrey was back last week, but he was in limited action. Him being, I would assume, full go this week is a little concerning, but I think PJ Walker's not going to be one of those guys that gives Christian McCaffrey those quick dump-off passes in space, like with enough fluidity. Or I just think this offense is going to have some growing pains with Walker at quarterback, and it's going to affect the entire offensive production. I'm going Arizona, and I'm going with the under for the 44.5, just because I'm confident the Panthers are going to have nothing going on offense.
I'm going to pretty much completely disagree with your point. So I think they're going to do exactly what you said they won't, which is they're going to do. They realize, PJ Walker, while he was an XFL star, he does know the Carolina Panthers system, and they're going to make it as easy as they can. As they can. It's going to be a lot of short stuff to DJ Moore, a lot of short stuff to Christian McCaffrey.
That's not his game, I don't think.
We're talking screens, we're talking runs, we're talking tosses.
He's more of like an improvise and throw
I'm sure
it
you'll
downfield
see
kind
you'll
of guy.
see some of that too. You'll see some rollouts. You'll see some run pass option. You'll see some trick plays.
Well, RPO that's probably the move.
Yeah, and I think you're looking at the Panthers, who have a top 5 defense in the NFL. They've been on the field so much because of how much that offense has struggled, and they're still holding their own. And it's for that reason I think they will cover this spread. I think their defense is good enough to keep them in the game and really not get blown out. And their offense has enough weapons to keep this close.
Fair enough. We'll see what the coin says. And the coin is going with the Arizona Cardinals as well. You're completely fucked, Mitchell. Me and the coin are going to probably be up 2-3 games on you after this week.
About that.
Next up, we have the Philadelphia Eagles at the Denver Broncos. The Broncos favored by -2.5, and the over/under set at 44.5. So now it's Vegas is giving Broncos the respect.
I think it's a bit too much respect. I get that they went and upset Dallas last week. What scares me here is Philadelphia is one of those teams that rushes the passer like nobody else. Their defense is very risky, right? Because they either fucking sack you every play and they really get to you, or they get burned absolutely deep because they take so much risks. I don't think Denver is the team to take advantage of that. I think the way Philadelphia has been running the ball the past few weeks has been very impressive. They finally seem like they're using Jalen Hurts correctly. A lot of Jordan Howard, which for whatever reason seems to be working. Devontae Smith has looked awesome. I just think not only are they going to cover this spread, I think they'll win the game. I don't think Denver is that good, and this is a classic letdown spot after a big win.
Fair enough. So I'm going to do a little mathematics. I don't know if you know kind of the Y equals MX plus B, but Dallas destroyed Philly, and Denver destroyed Philly.
What the hell are you talking about?
Dallas destroyed Philly, and Denver destroyed Dallas. So that means Denver's better than every team there.
I guess we'll see if that math adds up.
I just put it in my calculator, and I confirmed the math adds up. I'm going Denver. I'm a big math guy. Denver's. This is also another one. I'm not gonna lie. I'd say Minnesota game, I was not confident. I'm equally as not confident in this one. I think it's kind of like a coin toss. And honestly, I might just go with whatever the coin says, just for the fuck of it. The coin is going Philly. Goddamn, that scares me. But I'm not a gutless bastard. I'm sticking with my gut. I'm going to stick with Denver. Next up, we have Seattle Seahawks at the Green Bay Packers. The Packers favored by -3.5. And the over-runner set at 49.5. Another one who fucking knows what's going to happen at quarterback. Is Russ going to be back? Is Rodgers going to be back? I could see neither of them being back or both of them being back. I have no clue.
Yeah, it's looking like they'll both be back. Russell Wilson has been cleared to go. He's going to be practicing this week. Aaron Rodgers won't be cleared to be with the team until Saturday, but he's doing some stuff on the side. He's trying to keep it kind of low-key, but all things are pointing towards him playing in this game. I believe I went with Green Bay here. Correct me if I'm wrong, and I'm going to stand by that bet.
You went with Green Bay?
What was the spread on this one?
-3.5 for the Packers.
Yeah, I think Green Bay is obviously, when all their guys are there, good enough to cover this spread. They've proven it. They were doubted against Arizona. They went and won that game. Even this past week with Jordan Love, like they somehow found a way to keep it close against the Chiefs, and maybe that's more than
God damn, Jordan Love looked
yeah,
bad.
He looked bad. Maybe that's more than anything like a testament of how the Chiefs have been disappointing this year. I just think Green Bay, like, this is as good as I've seen their defense in a long time. And when they have a healthy Aaron Rodgers, their offense can score on anybody. I don't think Seattle's good enough to keep this close. Even with, like, when they had Russ Wilson at the start of the year, they still were getting beat by teams. They didn't look that great. He's going to be coming back for an injury. He'll be a little rusty. I'll take Green Bay here.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Seahawks in this one. I'm assuming that Russ is back. And I got to give him respect. Like, the reports were that he might be out for like 2 months. This guy's coming back after 4 weeks. Sierra's definitely got some youth serum. Maybe that you know what gives a little bit of that eternal youth. But Sierra, all respects to you. I love you.
Shit joke. However, it does look like Chris Carson will play in this game too. He had some neck issues. That could be a deciding factor. Like he's a really hard runner whenever he's healthy, but always scary to play with that neck stuff.
Can you not interrupt me as I'm talking about Sierra's beauty?
I mean, I'm a Mr. Unlimited guy. I just couldn't have you talking about his girl.
Fair enough. So yeah, I'm going with Seattle in this one. I love Russell.
I haven't done this in a while. Mr. Unlimited.
Yeah, welcome back. I'm actually very shocked that you didn't go with him. I think you went with Seahawks like every single time with him.
Yeah, but even when he was playing this year, they kind of disappointed me. So that's why I'm not taking him.
Well, I feel like they're playing their best now, and Geno Smith was kind of holding down the fort pretty well.
He took care of the ball.
Yeah, but I got to go with the Seahawks. Carson being back, Wilson being back, those are 2 additions. Plus 3.5. I can't believe, like, if they're both back, that's not good odds. I'm going with Seahawks. Nah, we got this. The coin is going for the Seahawks as well. The all-knowing coin.
Man, there's going to be some big changes next week because we have a lot of different picks here.
Oh, yeah. Next up, we have the Kansas City Chiefs at the Las Vegas Raiders, with the Chiefs favored by minus 2.5. Considering how bad the Chiefs have played this year, shocking to see them favored against the Raiders. I got to go with the Raiders.
You think it's shocking to see them favored? The Raiders just lost to the Eagles.
The Raiders lost to the Eagles, but the Chiefs have looked horrible. I would say that their win against the Jordan Love-led Packers was kind of like more damning compared to Raiders' loss against the Eagles. When it came to the Raiders' loss, I think Derek Carr had his like by far worst game of the season. I just don't think he does that again, especially when you're talking about primetime games. Raiders, they fucking play primetime games tough, and I think I was debating going money line in this, but I think that it's going to be a high-scoring game where the Raiders cover the spread. I'm going over 52, and I'm going for the Raiders. I believe Derek Carr has a bounce-back game, and I think the Raiders cover the spread.
So I'll say a few things that make my pick look stupid. So I picked KC here, but I will say Las Vegas played them very well last year.
Division!
Not just a division game. Vegas last year went and beat them, and then had another game where they should have beat them and kind of lost it last second. So Vegas, even against that KC team that made it to the Super Bowl, really gave them the work. KC doesn't look like that team of the past 2 years, but doesn't it just feel like, and I know it sounds stupid, but like everyone's just like, oh, they'll be back, and they're not coming back, but maybe this is the game they're back. This is a Sunday night game. Vegas will be absolutely rocking. That crowd is going to be crazy. This will be a fun one to watch. Division rivalry, high-scoring game, and I keep telling myself, like, KC's got to show up eventually. Sunday night game, maybe it's time to show up, right? They have not been clicking because, as I said earlier with the Bills, teams are playing that cover 2 shell. They're making them take what's underneath. They're knocking them the deep, giving them the deep pass. At some point, they got to keep taking those underneath plays. Keep taking them. Don't make a mistake. Get a few scores that way, and then take the shot, right? The other thing is Clyde Edwards-Helaire is practicing. Of course, he's been a disappointment, but potentially if he's looking healthy, could be a big boon for that offense. I will take KC in this game because, again, I think eventually they got to show up.
Yeah, I mean, I get your argument. I actually think Clyde does get a bad rap, and he is a nice addition. Darrell Williams been holding down the fort. Same with Derek Gore, but Clyde Edwards, first-round pick. The coin went with KC as well, and that was the Sunday nighter. Now we're going to the Monday nighter, fresh off a fantastic Monday Night Football game featuring the Bears getting robbed.
I don't know about fantastic. It was a bit of a boring game with some.
No, I like some griminess. You know, I just love.
Shout out to Justin Fields for finally showing up, though. Yeah, he showed something.
Respects. So we got the Los Angeles Rams at the San Francisco 49ers. The Rams favored by -4, and the over-under set at 49. I got to go with the Rams in this one. They talked about it in the last game when the Rams were getting crushed by the Titans. The inside pressure that they were generating was fantastic. I was thinking about him for Caveman of the Week, but the defensive tackle for the Titans, why am I zoning out?
Jeffrey Simmons.
Jeffrey Simmons, what a fucking game by that guy. That guy's a beast. But, yeah, I just don't think San Fran has a pretty solid defense, I don't think they're going to generate as much inside pressure. And I think Matthew Stafford gets back to his old Matthew Stafford ways, and I believe this Rams offense has its way both rushing and passing the football. I'm going Rams -4. I think the 49ers are trending downwards, and I think we're going to see Trey Lance start sooner than later over Jimmy Garoppolo.
I will say I picked the Rams, but having the 49ers playing with an over-under of 49 has me. It's a sign there. It's throwing me a little off. I don't know what to do. I'm questioning.
What if I add ERS after it?
Yeah,
I feel like you got to go.
I'm questioning everything I've ever seen. If Von Miller plays in this game, that could be a huge difference. I'm excited to see him in a Rams jersey with that interior pressure being caused because he's going to wreak some havoc. This over-under, honestly, you'd think it would be a little bigger. The Rams have been really good this year. Obviously lost last week to the Titans. San Fran's been disappointing. So I think Vegas knows, this is a division rivalry. They're going to play each other tight. I think this will be a really, really good Monday nighter. I will take the Rams. They're so talented, and it's just so hard to see. I mean, the -4 doesn't imply that they'll lose, but it's very hard to see them losing 2 games in a row with how good they are. And I think they come back, and they show kind of why they're the class of the NFC this week.
All right. Not going with your intuition with the 49ers. Do not respect it. Because you know what? The coin went with the 49ers. It understands that the over-under is 49.
Something's
and the team
up.
playing is the 49ers. It's got to be the 49ers winner.
The coin smells something is up.
Yeah, that concludes all this slate of games. Anything else you want to talk about?
I do think we should touch on where do we think, because the news will probably be announced in very soon, everyone.
OBJ.
So it's looking like the Chiefs, the Saints, and the Packers are the favorites. If I was to guess right now, it's looking like the Saints. I don't know why, if you're Odell Beckham, you would go to a team with a worse quarterback than Baker, but I'm sure Sean Payton is promising him certain things in terms of targets and where they're going to move him, which will make him lean that way. Plus, obviously, he played at LSU.
Well, I mean, if Odell Beckham is really what he's fucking about, if he really wants the stats, Green Bay offered him the vet minimum contract. Is he greedy? Does he want the money? Or does he make enough money with social media endorsements and he knows if he goes to a team like Green Bay on a 1-year vet minimum salary and looks good with one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, like, you would think that would make sense for him, right? But obviously, I just don't like Odell. I think he's a greedy bastard. I think he's selfish.
He's like his dad.
I love his dad. I love his dad.
Yeah, I mean, the offensive purist in me, of course, wants to see him in Green Bay or the Chiefs.
He'll take the money.
Yeah, I think he probably goes. I don't think it's just money. I think it's kind of returning to where he was dominant at college. He knows a lot of people there. I think he probably chooses New Orleans. I would love to see him with 2 of the greatest QBs of our time. Just don't think it's going to end up happening. He goes to the 3rd greatest QB of our time, Trevor Siemian.
I could see him going to the Patriots too. Like
it's one of those dark horse picks, and I'm sure this is being recorded Wednesday, dropping Thursday morning. We probably sound like jackasses because he's already made his pick.
Yeah, I could see it totally being done like Thursday morning. I mean, he just did clear waivers in our time, but yeah, that's.
I mean, other than that, I don't think our game tonight will be great. Baltimore-Miami. Maybe I'm proven wrong. The Jets made a run towards the end of that game. The Sunday nighter, the Monday nighter look great. Any other games you're looking at this week in terms of something to watch?
No, I'm honestly all I'm thinking right now is I want to bet $100 that the Patriots beat the Falcons next week.
We'll get to the Patriots Falcons.
Whoa.
We'll get to the Patriots Falcons. There'll be a lot of trash talk moving into next week.
I don't know if the podcast listeners can hear this, but I actually on the mic, Mitchell's dick just shriveled up in between his pants. This guy's afraid to make the bet.
There will be a lot of talk about this bet. We got to look at our X's and O's. Who's the home team? What's the over-under? Not the over-under. What's the spread? There'll be some things we look at before making this bet, but there will definitely be a bet and a lot of shit talk.
Mitch is acting like that fucking meme where it goes through like all that shit in his brain as he's like looking up the over-under.
No, it's the guy from Sunny Philadelphia where he's conspiracy theory. He's pointing at the board with all these different words and stuff around it.
It's pretty much you at this point.
I'd say other than that, this week we'll be looking at Cleveland, New England, New Orleans, Tennessee looks like a good game. Looking down the chart, anything else? Yeah. Seattle, Green Bay will be good. It's not a bad week. Atlanta, Dallas, high over under. At the very least, it'll be a lot of scoring. I'll probably be watching that.
Yeah, a couple interesting ones for sure. I do have to mention, if you guys enjoyed this, be sure to like it, leave a review, and why don't you guys comment if you think Mitchell's a dickless bastard for not wanting to make this bet? Just comment below. Appreciate you guys.
If you think Riley is a massive homer whose top 10s really aren't all that great, feel free to leave a comment on that as well. I hope
if you guys think that comeback was really weak and Mitchell's a fucking loser.
Yeah, that was a good one. I mean, we always love a comment. We always love the comments, even though they're hating on us for being too upbeat about a weird week in the NFL. Always leave comments. We love that.
Mitchell dancing on the grave of victims. What's new? Appreciate all you guys for listening. Have a good one, and talk to you next week.
Peace.
Peace.